Hey everybody, Bobby Marr here. Sorry, this is take two. I'm late because I had tech issues. I tried to run this live stream before, but it didn't work. Welcome to my daily show, the Power of Connection channel, and it's a LinkedIn live stream we do every day, Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks so much for joining me. Today's topic is about public speaking, and actually, I'm going to do this theme for the whole week. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, I'm going to talk all about public speaking to help you understand why it's important and how you can get going on it. So we're going to cover topics around the whole public speaking aspect. All right, so hope you will join me for that, and we can get going. Now, before we get into the dive in, I'd like for you to share below. What are some of the? Tell me where you're from first of all. So tell me where you're from. Are you from Europe, Australia, India? North America. If you like what you're hearing, tap, like, love, clap. All those different little icons are really great there for you. You can also tag people to join the conversation. You go, morning, Brian, morning, Brenda. You can also get people, morning, Azizullah, Marianne, great. Happy Monday, everybody. Sorry, there was some tech issues. That's why I'm late. I apologize for that. I ran the stream once, but it didn't work. Hey, Ravi, good to see you. You can also share us on your own pages. And then the other thing you can do is you can talk to people and chat with them. Bahare, Jana's here, that's great. Talk to people, connect with them. Maybe you can connect with them online on LinkedIn. That would be great. And so what I'll do is I'll start with some introductions, get you guys saying hi to each other. There's Fatima, there's Sajid Kumar. Man, people from everywhere. It's awesome. Joel's here from Puerto Rico. Wow, that's amazing. I love this. I love seeing where people are. James, yeah, but I know where you're from, but no one else here in the feed may know where you're from, so let them know where you're from, right? Hey, Brian, good to see you. Happy Monday to everybody. I had a great weekend, actually, because the Toronto Raptors won the conference final and are going to the NBA playoff finals. I'm super excited. It was an amazing, amazing night, so that was kind of fun. I post about that all over Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, so it's kind of funny. But let's get into the topic, right? Why public speaking, why is it important? Again, this is a topic for everybody, so if you know people, I want you to tag 5 people, tag 10 people, and at the end of this broadcast, I had an offer I shared last week on Friday. I'm going to share the same offer because I'm going to keep it going for about a week. Hello, Nebraska. Welcome. Good to see you. Welcome from North Carolina. So why public speaking? Well, the truth is, speaking is a way for you to enhance your personal brand, to share your expertise, to talk about your career insights, your business, your product. So if you're an entrepreneur, you can talk about your business, you can talk about your team, you can talk about your product. These are all things that people should know about, and it's going to actually positively affect your business. If you are a career person, let's say you're a corporate person, whether you're a manager or an executive assistant, or whether you're a senior vice president, you can start talking about your company in a positive way if you want to promote them. You can talk about the things you've learned in marketing or HR or whatever field you're in to demonstrate your expertise. And actually, it's a good thing because if you're in HR and you demonstrate your expertise by talking about HR and doing public speak around that, people then associate your HR expertise, which is the HR policies of that company that you're part of, and that's actually again another win-win for you. So that's another reason why you should public speak. And ultimately, public speaking is a big part of thought leadership. And thanks for all these nice tags. Tag people. Let's get them part of the conversation. Public speaking is part of thought leadership. If you want to build a thought leadership personal brand around yourself, no matter what industry you're in or no matter what you're doing, there's networking, broad and deep connections. There's creating ideas and content, and then there's also speaking. So you want to speak. You want to get people to hear and see what you're all about. So that's important. Brenda asked a question right away, and you can ask questions too throughout this. I'm happy to engage. Brenda, what software are you using to live stream? I am currently using Switcher Studio, but I'm going to be trying Social Live probably next week or in 2 weeks. I'm testing them all out just to see what they're all like, but hopefully it'll give me a sense of which ones are the better ones to go with. But that's the one I'm using right now. All right, so going back to public speaking, so you need to understand that public speaking is also one of the greater ways to create more impact and enhancement. I mean, yeah, sure, you can write a blog post, but when you speak in person, it's 12 times more effective when it comes to creating videos on LinkedIn or doing a live stream like this or seeing that personal connection. I mean, video or live speaking is really a way more powerful way to create that connection, right? And another question here, how to overcome stammering using filters. Well, what's interesting with the stammering thing, I stammer. I have ums and ahs. And for the most part, I don't worry too much about it. I think I try to focus on clarity of communication, try to be concise. I try to have passion in my voice. I try to say what I want to say in the most natural, accessible, Bobby way as I possibly can. Again, that's part of my brand. And yeah, a lot. I see James is talking about VR again. That's because that's what he does, right? So he's promoting himself. That's fine. Promote yourself too. Like I'm cool with that. As long as you guys engage in the discussion and provide value, I think that's a really, really good thing. Yes, Kelly, LinkedIn Live is very intoxicating. Absolutely. Carl's asked me, how am I? How am I? I'm feeling pretty good today. Had a great weekend with my kids' gymnastics competition, and we saw Aladdin, and the Raptors won, so I'm feeling really, really good. A lot of work to do this week, so I'm a little bit stressed out about that, but that's normal. That's what happens on Monday for me as an entrepreneur, because I ignore stuff on the weekends. Now, already I'm getting questions on speaking, which is great. Marianne says, okay, so Fatima asked where to speak, how to find speaking gigs. Well, that is the important thing. Well, the important thing is where do you speak? Well, first off, you have to figure out what your topics are and who your target audience is. Once you know those things, so the first step is to figure out, and this is going to be part of the content. I've talked about the importance of public speaking, so maybe what I'll do is I'll explain how to start public speaking, and then if I don't give you the answers, you can ask the questions again. Okay, but I see Fatima's question on where to speak, how to find speaking gigs, and then Marianne's how to take a ton of information and figure out what nuggets to share. Okay, so let's dive into this. So and we've explained that speaking is so important because, again, these are certain things in life. Speaking to people, making presentations, sharing who you are. This happens everywhere. You have to speak everywhere, with your family, with your friends, at work, at school. It doesn't matter where you are. You have to speak and show who you are and what you believe in, what you're all about, whether it's business or personal or social or political, whatever it might be. So learning to speak better and doing more speaking out there, whether it's a panel or a workshop or a keynote or whatever it might be, I encourage everyone to do. That's why I have my Speaker Mastermind program, because I help people with the speaking aspect to give them more opportunities. All right, so, and it looks like Bridgetti's here. That's great. Good to see you. So let's talk about how to start speaking. So it all comes down to the first thing, which is, what is your speaker brand, story, and profile, right? What is it about you and your speaker brand that you're trying to put out there? Now, a lot of people just, they don't take the time to really think about what that is, right? So for me, my speaker brand and story and profile is I'm all about the power of connection, and I help individuals and organizations learn how to connect better through personal branding, through networking, and through digital connection, right? So that's what most of all my topics are about. I do a lot of that kind of stuff. So for me, I have this whole story and brand on my website, which is in the links below, but that's kind of what I do. Now, for the rest of you, it might differ, right? So you have to figure that stuff out first. So you need to know what your topics are, and once you know what your topics are, it's also going to be based on your target audience. And then once you know your target audience, then you kind of know where to pitch and who to go after to talk about, your topics, right? So, and the other thing you got to think about is what kind of speaker do you want to be? Do you want to just do panels? Do you want to do keynotes? Do you want to do day-long workshops? Everyone's different. Do you want to facilitate or host? That's an important thing that you have to kind of figure out, right? So it takes time to do this, and a lot of people try to skip this step. They try to just get out there, and you can. I'm not saying you have to do every step. You can skip steps. You can go out there and just reach out to someone. Hey, I want to come and talk about networking and see what happens. It may not be as effective, but you never know. You might get someone who says yes to you. In fact, I have a downloadable PDF on how to get your first speaking gig right away, right? Thanks, Jyoti. Pinks, that's really sweet. Yeah, glad to hear you want to learn from me. That's why I'm sharing nuggets, man. And if you look at the links below, there's even more nuggets to help you do more speaking. So the first thing is your speaker story, profile, and brand. That's a really big thing you have to figure out. Then once you get into that, you have to think about now, how do I put together the right marketing assets and strategy to get out there and pitch who I am. So there's many things there that come into play, right? Putting together the right, video reel, speaker sell sheet, your email pitches, your subject headlines. How are you, and what are you going to do to reach out to people, and who are you going to call? What kind of people are going to call? What kind of people are going to email? And where you find these people? Leveraging your network. These are all different things you can do to get out there and put those things together. Then once that happens, that's step two. Then you have to think about, okay, well, you have to negotiate. Now, earlier on, for your speaker profile and brand, you can think about what your price is going to be, right? And it varies depending on what your level of experience and where you're at. But for the most part, you have to come up with your price, and or is there a price? Some of my clients in my speaker mastermind program just want to. They're already quite successful. They're quite rich, and they just want to give back, and they don't know how to do it. Right. So that's an important piece. Fatima, I love how you're numbering it. It's not necessarily the right strategy. It's the right marketing strategy. Okay. So there's strategy. There's marketing strategy. This is the marketing strategy. How do you get out there and do outreach to get those gigs? Right. And then, then negotiation comes into play, which is something you have to think about too. Other people also want to look at, creating a system for generating leads or maybe getting an agent. These are options you can use depending on your thought leadership brand, how big it is. If you have a large brand, you could probably get an agent. If you don't have much, then it's going to be hard to get one. So that's something you have to keep in mind. Well, yeah, and the question, is there a price? Well, yeah, some people have a price, some people don't, and that's fine. When I first started out as a speaker, I had a price which was quite low, but I also did a lot of free gigs, to get the word out there about who I was and how good I was. But then eventually you get to a point where you don't do as many of the free gigs, although I still do the odd one. I mean, they're rare. Like if someone asked me to do a 6 TEDx talk, they don't pay you. I would do that. Sure, why not? It's good for my brand. I don't mind doing that. Again, as long as it's convenient and nothing, too crazy. If they say, I want you to travel 1,000 miles to talk to 10 people and for free, no, I'm not going to do that. But if it's, during the day in front of 2,000 people and I get to be on stage with Gary Vaynerchuk, like I was last year, yeah, I said yes to that. Why not, right? And it looks like Sajid's doing a one-on-one chat. That's great. I'm glad that inspired you to do that. That's fantastic. So now that so other things to do when you're trying to get out there to speak is that then you got to think of, okay, now make sure you put together a really good presentation, right? So you want to develop a world-class presentation. And then the other thing you want to think about is, putting together a thought leadership brand around you that's around content. So, are you putting content on LinkedIn? Are you putting content on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter? Are you doing articles? Are you doing videos? What is your content marketing strategy? I think you should, that's a huge part of building a following, generating expertise around who you are, right, and what you have to say. And that way people know that you're the person that we should come to for, topic X, right? So because of all my videos on LinkedIn talking about personal branding and networking and digital influence, people are coming to me saying, hey, Bobby, I want to hire you for a keynote on those topics, right? And then they'll sometimes say, hey, can you do a topic on this? And I'll usually say, sure, I can. Like someone said, can you do a topic on business development? Sure, I can. So I delivered one. Can you do one on presentation skills? Well, that one I've been doing for a long time. Sure, I can. So there's ways for you. So once you have that strong personal brand and a strong profile, people are going to come to you and want to bring you in to do stuff around your brand. So I think it's important for you to understand that in terms of getting out there. And again, that's why for me, speaking is so important. Every single one of you, and every single connection I talk to, I always ask them, I say, hey, so are you doing any speaking? Why? Because I'm so passionate about it, and I think it's so important for you to get out there and, what do you speak about? I want to know, right? Brenda, so now I think at this point I'm ready to take some questions and see if anyone has anything they want to talk about. Brenda says, I'm traveling for a client training next week. Thoughts on posting on LinkedIn to see if others in the area might be interested in scheduling a presentation while I'm in town? Yeah, do it. Absolutely. I mean, that's the power of social media, is to leverage the network and to crowdsource and to connect with people. So when I go anywhere, like for example, I'm traveling to Tunisia this year, and when I traveled to Poland last year, I posted on Facebook, hey, I'm going to be in Poland. Who wants to be there? Who wants to connect? When I go to Montreal, who wants to connect to Montreal? Like I often will do that. I think you should totally do that. So I think that's so important to definitely leverage LinkedIn and your social media networks to try to find people to connect with, put some presentation together, or plan a networking lunch, whatever it might be. But definitely use that one. Okay. Let's see. Anil, one vital trait that every public speaker should have and how to cultivate it. One vital trait that every public speaker should have and how to cultivate it. That's a good question. One, I mean, there's so many, but I mean, for the most part, I think it's a desire to teach, right? So there's a desire to teach and have a message for the world. Like, what is your message for the world? Right now, it's going to be based on your experience, your business, your career, your job, your personal life, whatever it might be. Right? What is that key message for the world that you have? Because every single one of you has a story. Every single one of you has many stories. You have many TEDx talks within you, which I've talked about before. So what exactly is your message for the world? And when you know that, and you want to teach people that message, then yeah, that's the thing that fires off every speaker to get going, to come up with their brand, to build a system, to generate leads, to get out there and pitch. That's what drives me, because I know that for my why statement, people are needing my support because they're feeling lost, stuck, and unfulfilled in their careers, and I want to help them, right? So, yeah, Brenda, you're hesitating. If you tag me, yeah, definitely tag. So tell them Bobby told you to. That way, there's less accountability on your end, right? Like, Bobby made me do it, so now you can post, and hopefully you'll get people that are going to be willing to connect with. That's fantastic. More questions. I want to go back to Marianne's question way back here. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm gonna. Marianne says, "How do you take a ton of information and figure out what nuggets to share?" That's a good question. Yeah, because a lot of people, particularly those with seasoned experience, I often work with people who have like 20, 30 years experience, and they have all this stuff, right? Well, part of my job, and and also you can do it on your own, but is to come down to the top 3 to 5 key topic areas. Now, when you get down to those topic areas, now from that, what's the key messaging? So, for example, for me, networking, what's my key message on networking? It's about, learning the mindsets, strategies, and tactics to become a better network and create better connection. And that's really important. And when it comes down to my topic around personal branding, what's my personal brand message? Well, you need to invest in your personal brand to create more clarity, alignment, focus, and fulfillment and impact. And that's what it's all about. So how do you find the nuggets to share? Well, you have to structure it out and it will say, what's the key message for me? And then when you figure that out, you can then kind of lay out the plan for, okay, here are the 3 things. Here's a key message I have for my audience for this talk number 1. Here are the 3 different things I'm going to mention in terms of getting to that point, and then building that presentation that gets the right nuggets. And you can also brainstorm a list of all your personal stories, and then see what comes out of it in terms of what kind of topics you can do. That's actually really a good way to go as well. All right, any more questions on public speaking here? Let's see here. More questions. So one vital trait, we did that. Let's see. Sai says, how do we keep our where is it? Oh, I missed it. How do we keep our audience engaged? Well, I mean, there's different ways to do that, but I mean, if you look at a lot of my YouTube videos, I'll talk about this. But essentially, you keep your audience engaged by, number 1, preparing a talk that's based on your audience's needs. So focus on your audience, number 1. Number 2, start have different tactics that audiences love, right? Like, so, case studies, personal stories, storytelling, asking questions, interacting with the audience. These are all things that keep them engaged, right? Storytelling, asking a question, hearing what the audience has to say about things. These are all things that keep them far more engaged. People like to, look at data, case studies, and connect the dots on the key messages. You have to sometimes say the message over and over again. One of my golden rules for speaking is, tell them what you're going to tell them, then tell them what you told them, right? So you tell them 3 times the key message of your talk to reinforce that stuff in their head, right? How do we give a wonderful start that each and every one feels like listening to me? Well, first off, let me give you a little tip. Not everyone's going to listen to you. So it doesn't matter how good you are. There's going to be people in the audience like, well, this person, yeah, meh. And that's okay. Just don't focus on that person. Focus on the ones who are there to hear you. How do you give a wonderful start? Well, I mean, for everyone's different, right? I mean, there are people like myself and high energy people who are like, yeah, they get out there and they just, use a lot of excitement and energy and music to get people riled up. There's other people who are quiet, like Susan Cain, and she comes out and just, very, very poised as an introvert and starts telling a story. Telling a story is a great way to start. Sharing a personal experience, asking a deep, thought-provoking question. These are all different ways you can use to get them listening to you. The ones who care, right? I mean, usually you can win the audience over within the first 5 minutes, and that's usually my goal when I try to get out there and speak. Let's see here, more questions here. Yeah, you can do something to grab their attention. That's a good point, James. Passion, story, language, communication. Yeah, I agree. Okay, let's see. Any other one? Love how you break down. Thanks, I. But while I'm doing my best, try to break it down. I want to make sure it's easy for people to digest the information and get value from these broadcasts. And again, if you're still here, again, this is my Power of Connection broadcast for the LinkedIn live stream. I'm here every week at 8:30 a.m. Monday to Friday Eastern Standard Time. If you want to join me and take on topics on career development, leadership, personal branding, networking, public speaking, things like that, I'd love to have you join me. Every Wednesday I have what's called Wisdom Wednesday. I have an interview every Wednesday with somebody. I'm happy to interview more people in Toronto. For now, with this app, I'm limited to local people. but you can tag them below. If you can share this on your own pages, you can get people part of the conversation. You can join me every week. And as I mentioned before, there's a special surprise for those people that are sticking around for the links below, which I'll share now, which is one of the links, the Patreon page, Bobby. It says patreon.com/BobbyOmar. I'm offering something special for the first 5 people who sign up for a $10 level or higher. And it's amazing because you get all this great content for like $120 for a year. But basically, I'm going to give out 5 free coaching consulting sessions on whatever you need for 1 hour, which is like, that's about a $250 value, which is pretty good. So think about that and sign on and let me know what you think. If you have any more questions for your support, I use that platform to support people on career development and entrepreneurship journeys and things like that. Let's see other things that any other questions. Well, Maureen asks, what is the roadmap once you've acquired the expertise, the stories, start building a career in public speaking? That's a great question. So actually, when I do my overall my group mastermind for my speaker mastermind program, roadmap is actually the 4th module where I talk about, okay, how do we now build this roadmap, right? Because once you have your profile, brand, story, and you have your assets and you have your presentations and you know how to pitch, then what's the roadmap to actually building that career? That's a big part of it, right? So to get out there, do it. And I've worked with people to help them build these things pretty fast. Some people want to move really fast. Within 3 to 6 months, you can start getting speaking gigs, building income around that. Other people do it slowly because they're doing it part-time or putting in like maybe 5 hours a week. So then that's a slower build over maybe like a year. But I think most of us can do it, and I can help you get there even faster and more effectively because, coaching is a way to 10x your business. So, what's the roadmap is based on several things. It's based on your brand. It's based on your topics. It's based on your target market. It's based on, what your assets are. And then from that, we put together the right plan, whether it's a combination of email, social media, outreach, agencies, lead generation systems. There's all these different ways for you to do that to start building that profile. Okay. How did you get your first speaking gigs? Katie, that's interesting. Well, define big. Like, what does that even mean? Like, the most money, the most prolific, the largest audience? I mean, it's hard to say, what's big. I guess the only thing I can think of, the one where I think was the most big is where I just got the most excited about it. That was pretty early on, actually. I got a gig to speak at a conference that was in Portugal, and actually in the Azores Islands, and they flew me from Toronto all the way to Portugal, and I was there for 4 days. I only spoke for one. I spoke for 1 hour over the 4 days, and I got to stay in a hotel, and the traveling, and they had tours, and then I had this audience of like it must have been like 500 to 1,000 people. That's the one where I was like, wow, okay, that was pretty cool, and that was amazing because they paid for the flight, they paid for the hotel, and I got paid on top of that for my speaking. And at the time, it was the highest speaking gig I got at the time, which was amazing. I was like, wow! I was just so. I think they gave me $1,500. I was like, wow, this is great. I was super excited. That was about, how long was that into my career? That was probably maybe about a year in. Yeah, about a year into it. And I was like, wow, that was awesome. And I was super stoked. That was a really cool speaking gig. But other speaking gigs that are big are based on, traveling to Dubai and UAE was really cool. Traveling to India was cool. Getting my first TEDx talk was cool. So I've had speaking on stage with the same thing with Gary Vaynerchuk. That was amazing. So these are all different ones that are big for different reasons. Thanks, Davina, for the kind words. Nice to James telling stories is great. All right. Well, if you want videos of my talks, people ask for videos of my talks. They're all on YouTube, but I have videos there. It's great. Fatima asks, what's your criteria to interview people on Wednesday? Well, for the Wednesday Wisdom, I'm basically looking for people who are established thought leaders in their specific field or niche. People have a lot of influence, people have a lot of followers, people who are, well known, have strong personal brands in their space. Yeah, I mean, it's a good question because, everyone's asked me for an interview, but I'm honestly not going to interview everybody, right? So you'll get a sense of the people I'm interviewing in terms of who they are and what kind of depth of expertise they have, what kind of brand they have. Now, some of them are also my friends, so like I'm happy to help my friends. But that's kind of the thing I'm looking for: people who have influence, who are doing some great work, people who I trust. Those are all things that I care about. Let's see. Any other questions? How can you be effective on social media, especially Twitter? Okay, well, if you want to be effective on Twitter, again, Twitter is about having those short, powerful bites, right? So what I'll do is I'll share a few short things. I mean, you can share links, you can share videos, and it's great. But one is you want to have diverse content on Twitter, but you also want to make sure you're helping your network, right, by creating that content that they really care about, that they love. Okay, so and that's the same with any platform: LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, same thing. Put together content that you really love. But Twitter requires a little bit of that leveraging hashtags and leveraging the right people to have conversation with, and to have the short ones versus the longer ones, and mixing it all up. I think that's probably the way to go. Let's see what else. Hi, Bobby. What topics do you like to speak about mostly? That's a good question, Christopher. I mean, I've now spoken about probably like on my speaker profile, I have 6 main topics, but I probably can cover 10, 20 different topics. Because I'd love to talk more about toxic bullying or dealing with social media bullies. I'd love to talk more about parenting or my health journey. But these are things that are not necessarily ones that generate a lot of business. My main ones that I talk about are personal branding, networking, and digital influence / marketing / social media. That's the big 3. They kind of revolve around my Power Connection brand. Which one I like talking about the most? I don't know. I mean, they're all they're all really, really good. Networking is the one I first started with, 13 years ago, and I still love talking about it because I have the best nuggets. But personal brand is the one that I think really gets people to think about where they are in their life and how to create the impact that they want. So when I talk about personal branding, I think that's one that really, I think, hits people in the heart, and I really love that having an impact because, sometimes people come up to me and they're like, well, Bobby, what you said really moved me. I'm feeling lost. And I've had some people break down in front of me, and I'm hugging them, and they're just upset because they're just feeling stuck, or they're in a toxic situation and they don't know what to do. And for me, that type of discussion is the most powerful and the ones that I love the most. Okay, podcasts are good. Better yet, what topics do you find yourself talking about mostly? Yeah, well, I talk mostly about networking, personal branding, how to be a better speaker, and I talk about digital marketing, influence, social media. That's the stuff I talk about the most. Let's see. All right, so Brendan's ready to post about travel. That's great. Glad to hear. All right, so I think we're near the end of this because oh my gosh, past 9 o'clock. So I started late today. So again, this is my first of 4 I'm going to cover this week for the theme on public speaking. So if you have any specific topics on public speaking or questions on it, I'm going to do topics specifically on public speaking. Like for example, tomorrow I might just do putting together your pitches or putting together your profile, putting together a great presentation. That's what I'm going to do. All right. So thanks so much for joining me. If you're joining late and you watch the replay, comment below, tag people, share us on your profile. Check out the special offer I'm doing for Patreon on the link below. And I will see you guys tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful week. And I'll see you soon. Take care.